Portfolio looking like a dream. Green lines rising like whipped cream. I should have sold, now that's a trap. I opened Smith and Tool and sat back. Click save as moon, JP cake. Named it, I'm rich and walked away. Didn't cash out, didn't take a dime. Just posted it with the perfect line. I took a screenshot, never selling. I framed the top and I'm still yelling. No cash, just pixels on my phone. Staring at a chart I do not own. I took a screenshot, never selling. Diamond hands and meme repelling. No Lamborghinis, just digital pride. We don't sell here, we just slide. It was green, so green it hurt. Like heads in 2021 with a vintage shirt. My wallet screamed, you need to sell. But my brain just spurred, now let it swell. So I hit control, shift 4, and dragged the box round, gains galore. No exit plan, no tax prep call. Just a pick I cry, overcome the fall. God, I took a screenshot, never selling. My portfolio has been chilling. Exploring highs, but I stayed true. Didn't press sell, just press control U. I took a screenshot, never selling. Watched the dip and started yelling. Still I hold the diamond cold, clutching gains like it's my horoscope. My friend sold and paid off debt. I saved a JPEG and regret, but I posted it with a kitty emoji, so it's fine.
Down under where the crypto flows. DeFi's here and everybody knows. PulseChain, Hex, it's a crypto dream. Bitcoin, Ethereum, we're on the scene. Crypto happy hour, join the ride. Jump in the stream and feel the vibe. Be sure to hit the like. Keep right down under, streaming live. Richer on politics collide. Freedom of speech we won't hide. Macro views and chats so bright. Join our stream, it's a Friday night. Crypto happy hour, join the ride. Jump in the stream and feel the vibe. Be sure to hit the like. Keep right down under, streaming live.
G'day everybody and welcome to the Crypto Happy Hour, and g'day to my old mate Base Radiant and Fast Abdul. How you guys
Hey
going?
boys, good.
Hey,
Yeah,
long
that's
time no
good. Yes.
see. Fast Abdul.
Thank you.
Yes. What have you been up to, mate? You've been in court, it seems.
Yeah, I'm passing judgment on a lot of things lately. Feeling very
Oh.
judgmental.
Cool. Judge
But,
Judy over there, just with
Yeah.
the gavel.
Laying
Indeed.
down the law.
If
I like
if
to
I,
hear
if
some-
I was the one making the decisions, things would be much simpler. We should
Oh,
really
look,
just
if I could put
Interesting.
you up there, I would.
Yeah, wow, geez, maybe, yeah. We'd have maybe less wars. I don't know. I think there's always going to be
Maybe
some
more.
amount of war.
different wars.
Maybe wars. Different wars. That's right. Well, I'd be interested to hear your adjudications on the PulseChain ecosystem at the moment. But
Oh,
yeah, it's a bit of a dumpster fire.
Yeah, but so is everything else to some extent, right?
Yes,
Like,
that's the saving grace.
I think we can't forget that. You know, like you look at your charts, like the things that you're interested in, you're like, oh no, they're down. But then like look at Bitcoin's $104,000, which is, you know, it's down from 110. Ethereum's $2,500, right? Like that's the root of everything, is the greater markets. And like Israel and Iran are firing missiles at each other, right? Like it could be
yeah.
worse.
There's straight up World War III FUD. Like, although this time they seem to be actually landing some missiles. So because remember at the end of 2024 there was like this World War III FUD, the same exact thing. Like Iran was
I need a browser plugin that just replaces WW3 with WWE, and then I'll be a happier man. Just John Cena, you know, like
just somehow like reject
just live in
reality and
ignorance.
substitute your own. That's the best way to
Yeah.
do it. That's like that
Yeah.
Mr. Robot. I don't know if you ever watched Mr. Robot, but it was
I
pretty
watched
cool.
Mr. Robot. Yeah,
I never watched
it
the
was-
end, but I love it.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't spoil it. But anyway, he used to replace the word because it was E Corp, and in his mind he would just say Evil Corp. So every
Yeah.
time they would just be like Evil Corp.
Yeah, it's such a great
And
phenomenal.
it's a
that
good
one.
substitution. Yeah, you can do that.
but like you're right
anyway,
about like Iran and Israel, like once or twice a year, like some nuclear scientist in Iran spontaneously combusts or falls out a window, right? Like it's not, that's not a new thing. The volleys of missiles is a new thing.
Yes. So I mean, they've been
Tensions.
doing this. Obviously, they've been fighting in that region for like 3,000 years or something. So that's not
Day
new.
law.
And I think it's Benjamin Netanyahu has been. I've seen footage of him talking about Iran's enrichment program since 1996, and then again in 2000.
Like 30 years, Iran's been making nukes, right? Like
They're 2 weeks away. It's the 2 more weeks. It's literally like. It's like PulseChain's launching in 2 weeks. Iran's got nuclear capabilities in 2 weeks, but they've been doing this for 25, 30 years. They've been 2 weeks away. So, I mean, not to say that maybe now they fully do. Like it's been 30 years. And maybe you don't want them in the hands of people who are unstable. So, like maybe who's to say?
Nobody wants Iran to have nukes. Like even probably most Iranians don't want Iran to have nukes.
Yeah,
but
fair point,
I have a solution, guys, and I think you could help me with it.
Right.
Tasmania. Have you heard of it?
We know of it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to move Israel to Tasmania, brick by brick, the whole thing. Right? You'll get there'll be a cash payout for Tasmanians, but then it will be there on an island down south, far away, and then we just won't talk about it anymore.
Look, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful there. You know what they call the map of Tassie? I shouldn't say this. Too early for that.
Oh dear.
All right, so that's a bit of a rude joke there. So if you look at it on a map, maybe you'll understand. But so no, I don't think they'll go for that. There's something particular about that land that people have been fighting for generations and generations over. So I'm not sure we're going to solve it in the allotted time we have available. So maybe we should focus on something else. But look, it is what it is.
We managed to make we bring together world peace in this show in the hour or so.
Yeah, look, that would be
the dream.
If that happens, I'm going to clip this for sure.
Yeah, look,
look
might be worse.
No, I think there might just be slightly more like dick jokes and things like that than actual like political solutions. But that's okay. So let's say hello to the chat. Let's see what is going up. True Blue and McNuggets.
I know those
We've got
guys.
Legends. Yep, Legends in the house. What is up? Pulse Jitsu. Oh yes, I remember him. Still with the shifty PFP, bro. I thought you changed that, or did you only change it on Twitter?
I changed it on Twitter.
Okay.
So I haven't. I haven't changed. I haven't changed it everywhere yet.
I feel like I'm not sure if you caught my commentary on it, but I speculated, this was a few weeks back, that part of the reason why people think that you're dodgy, like a lot of people are like, Fast Abdul's dodgy, and you're like, show me where. Like, I don't think so. He seems like a really nice guy. And it's like, it's because of your PFP, bro. It looks so shifty, like you're literally about to scam me with your PFP. And then I was like, you should probably change that because that's like not doing you any favors.
Well, let me see what you guys think, because it's that, and it's also the name I chose, which is the name of the character in the picture, which is Fast Abdul.
Sure. You should just change it to honest, like
honest
Joe. Anything else. Honest Joe would just be more like.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I kind of had a plan because I added the Pulse Jitsu to the front, and I thought I'd just transition to Pulse Jitsu and drop the Fast Abdul.
Pulse Jitsu is awesome. I was doing jiu-jitsu last night. It was lots of fun.
I'm doing jiu-jitsu tomorrow.
base rating? You took up a bit of BJJ
I
recently.
started it and then had to stop because I had other obligations. But I love it to bits, and I've now experienced it and want to go back. I just have not had the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty
No, there's
awesome.
something about it.
It's a whole new thing though, and it's really cool. It was not in my world, and now it is. And I'm like, dude, I want to go back so bad.
Yeah, it's like physical chess. Like even last night,
Yeah.
you know, I was sort
With
of
the-
going from someone I ended up in, the guy was in full mount, and then it's like I slowly was just like upgrading to like half guard and then psych control, ended up in north south, and then somehow ended up in rear naked and choked him. So it was like you can just incrementally upgrade your position. You know, you don't have to be. So I think that's what I like about it, is that there's a bit of you know, counters and things like that. So yeah, physical chess.
Yeah. Physical chess, yeah. Like unlike wrestling or something, there's like endless variation, right? Like there's nuances, and the better you get, the more you know that you don't know, right? Like it's always like, oh, like you sometimes you reach this point where you're like, oh, I know so much jujitsu, but then you learn a little bit more and you're like, oh, there's so much jujitsu I don't know.
Bro, and it's like a fast learning curve. Like, so I think last week, one of the guys I train with, who's at my level, but he like learns really quickly, and he's learned all these other things. He did this this thing where I think I tried to take his back, and he did a calf cutter. Like he grabbed my calf and just locked it up into this calf cutter, and I was like, that's not going to do anything. And then it fully, like, it hurt so bad. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to tap on that. Like normally, you know, try not to tap unless it's really on, like with a good choke or something. But this calf cutter was brutal. And then he started doing it again last night. And the second he started doing it, I knew that that's what he was going for. And I just fucking never moved so fast. I just like cartwheeled over his, you know, like somehow just flipped around. But it's like, yeah, once you've had a few of these things done to you, like someone puts you in like a DAS choke or something, and then you're like, okay, terrible. I'm not doing that again. Like I'm gonna see the setup coming. And then so anyway, I wanted to quickly bring up Ash, because we were chatting about this last week. So early one today, yes, thank you for everyone who's joined us early. I had obligations, yada yada. But Ash, last week we were talking about your ink, some sort of shitcoin, and you were asking us, you know, do we think the price is going to keep going or something like that? And on screen, I gave you a little bit of TA. I know it was like maybe not the greatest TA, and I was just talking about this like three. I was just like, there's this three
it's on Solana.
Surges up.
Okay.
Yeah, he was asking me about a coin. And then so here, this is for us playing at home, was like where I told him to sell.
Yeah.
So
look pretty good.
I took one look at that chart and I'm like, get out, dude. Get out.
So I'm interested to see, did you sell? Because I think you made quite good gains at that point. So yeah, maybe this here was Ash. I don't know. But yeah, you got to watch them shitcoins, eh?
Especially on Solana, Rug City.
Yeah, well, it went longer than what I thought it would, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it's legit, actually, because it's still there.
Wow. I mean, I can't talk. I've been shilling Hex for like 4 years, and our chart looks fairly terrible. But I believe that you know, the counter to this argument that people would just sort of say, "Oh, look at the chart, it looks terrible." It's like, yeah, okay. So the way that it's set up is that we're waiting for like an ETH, you know, to at least break 3,700, but hopefully it'll break 5,000, something like that. Ideally go to 8 grand, maybe 10 grand. And also I sort of expect that to happen sort of October, November, December. So it's kind of like, check your watch, and if it's not November and ETH isn't like above sort of 7-8 grand, then really no crying in the casino. Like just wait it out until those things, you can tick those boxes, and then you can cry, like if we're still down, or even then, like give it
43 is in
another
the
6
waiting
months.
room. One sec.
What's that? Oh, 43. What's going on?
Either he wants to say something. or hop
He
on.
was hiding behind a icon down here. 43. What is up? Oh, sorry, Golden Bull.
Golden
What's up,
Bull.
people?
Hey, good to hear your voice, bro.
It's been a while. I haven't been on for a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I had to
the-
come
the
on
chart
because of all the
needs
bullish
resuscitation.
stuff. Have you guys talked about? No, really, seriously. That
Oh, really?
sounds like I'm just talking nonsense, but I just think that the most bullish thing ever that's happened in the last few days, right? As much as we might not like the Genius Act or whatever it is,
Yes.
the idea that US dollars can be produced by Treasury on the blockchain, bypassing the Fed, is extremely bullish for crypto, and especially bullish for chains that have stable coins like Ethereum. So that is my when I heard that a couple of days ago, I'm like, that is mega bullish. If we don't have to wait for like the Fed to print, the Treasury can just print onto the blockchain.
Onto the blockchain. I didn't think about that. I thought about it as kind of like
Very huge.
news, but now I think about that. Yeah.
There's a few things like that where it's like, yeah, with these stable coins, if they can sort of tokenize treasury bonds and then they can just buy up a lot of debt, and they can, it's like there is a few shuffling of cards around where you kind of go, oh, okay, so you can print these stable coins, but they're backed. And then, because of the, I guess, like the collateralization and things like that, you can buy some of these treasury bonds if they're tokenized and then bring down the debt to GDP ratio. So there are a few tricks I think that they're going to try and pull, which I guess
because
overall
Trump
means that
Trump is crazy enough to do that, right? He's crazy because it's no secret that he's not a fan of Jerome Powell. He's not a fan of the Fed chair, right? He's not a fan at all.
yes,
So
major loser, Jerome Powell.
So if anyone in the world that would say, hey, I don't need Jerome Powell, I'm just gonna there's a way to do this without him. And so that's interesting. It's mega bullish in my mind for the next 6 months.
Yeah, so I guess it just means you increase the money supply, the liquidity out there, and then just the flow on into the markets with more liquidity. So yeah, look, I think it's programmed, bro. It's funny how these things play out. Like, everyone was expecting, well, certainly I was, the BTC bottom to be like the 10th of November, a year after the all-time high. And then FTX like went down on that day. And you're just like, is it though? Like some of these things, they're just a bit too coincidental. So I do see the 4-year cycle playing out towards the end of the year, like sort of, November again. And then it's like all these things are sort of starting to set up so that the end of, Q4 is going to be hopefully, hyper bullish.
I don't see it being a 4-year cycle, man. I'm very much leaning to it not being that at this point.
Okay. Look, if the
if reason
not,
there's
I'll just wait
an
longer.
important reason. Yeah, and there's an important reason I think that, and it's that Ethereum is a big part of the ecosystem, and Ethereum is so like someone needs to convince me that Ethereum's going to do everything it needs to do in the next 6 months. Like
Okay,
I just don't.
well,
That's never happened
try and convince you.
previously, right? That's never happened
Let me-
previously. That Ethereum, that it's always got back to all-time highs way earlier than 6 months
I understand.
before its all-time high.
But what about the Ethereum ETF if they incorporate staking? So if you're able to get exposure to yield through the Ethereum ETF on the stock market, you don't think that that is going to push the price of ETH up? Like, I'm pretty sure it will.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not.
So, because I
I'm
mean,
not
it's like,
arguing that
think about,
any of that wouldn't push the price of ETH up. I'm just saying that I think that it's the way I'm looking at it now. This could be a blowout, like into 2026, extended, like right translated cycle.
maybe.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
yeah. Could
That's
be.
good. Like that's what we need to like make up for all the shit in the last 4 years.
Well, it doesn't have to be right translated to still see the gains. Like, it only needs like 90 days to do some of the hyperbull stuff. Like in the past, if you look at the ETH BTC ratios and things like that, a lot of those moves happens in like a 3-month period.
I just think it's too short, man. I don't think the world gets onboarded. I think if there's ever going to be a cycle where the world is onboarded, this is that cycle. And I just don't think
yeah.
3 months is enough for everyone to get on
I
board.
don't know if it needs the world.
People that I've been talking to.
I don't think it needs the world to get onboarded. I don't know if that's the premise that I'm relying on, because like,
If
it's just
Hex is gonna
manipulated,
hit
bro. It's
$5,
fully manipulated.
Yeah. But
Well, hang on.
everything is-
If you look at that Pumpy app,
everything's-
and then you
everything's
and you look at what it takes to pump it to Hex to $5, it's completely doable with the liquidity we have at the moment. If
Well,
you
$5, like $30 is doable, right? Like if you looked at like the pulse, the sack bag that has 166,000 ETH in there, which if ETH goes to that like $6,000, that'd be $1 billion, right? So you know, pick your number of where you wanted to pump something to.
I don't think you need the world to be on board for that to get $5 Hex. But I mean, let's not shit ourselves. Even 20-cent Hex is like a 40x from here. So what's wrong with a 40x?
Yeah,
to 20
and we were
cents,
chatting
right?
about this the other day, Dozza.
Yeah,
we were
probably
chatting about this in the chat the other day because I got a lot of in the chat. I'm like, I said, you know, there's always I was being like, you know, a bit bearish, you know, in the chat. Like it's a private chat, so I'm allowed to be, you know, just when I'm feeling insecure or whatever, I go in there and cry privately. I don't cry on
safe space, bro.
On Twitter. And I went in there and it was like, you know, it is possible that we get an XRP bull run. And everyone's just like, you motherfucker. And then so let me explain. I'm like, please let me explain. An XRP bull run just means that we just do 50% of what the all-time high was last bull run, which for Hex would still be like 27 cents and still like massive pump from where we are right now. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying it's just anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. But in the last couple of days, since I've heard about this news about, you know, stable coins and treasury potential for treasury bypassing the Fed to print these stable coins on chain, I just think that is a direct injection into the vein of crypto rather than in the past, like money gets printed and it goes through all these convoluted pathways and then it eventually finds its way into like asset, like people are trying to, you know, put it into assets and stuff down the track. This is going to be a direct injection into the vein of crypto, and it could be the craziest thing that we've ever seen. Like it could be like in that highest of stakes where he's like, you know, 1%, like the loon birds, like just getting into Lambos and shit. It could seriously just end up like that, you know, because so much of the world isn't onboarded yet.
Yeah. Look, I think all these things are possible in this turn of the simulation.
Has already been doing that, right? Kind of.
Tether,
not
did you say?
exactly like in the same regulatory framework that now exists, but
they print like 1 billion Tether every week. Like it's crazy. But they are theoretically backed, you know, by. I think they hold like 30% of the US Treasury bonds or something like that, or like, it was something like that. It's like they're like they're the third largest Maybe it was that they're the third largest holder of treasury bonds. So they back their their reserves are backed in all sorts of things, gold and dollars and treasury bonds. So hopefully that's not just a giant Ponzi scam. Otherwise, we're all going to zero. I mean, there's been Tether FUD since 2017. I remember that was the big thing in 2017. It was like Tether's a scam. We're all going to zero.
So
it's like 8 years of it. I'm sort of desensitized to it now.
Yeah.
What's that, sorry?
They're still going. It's still charcoal.
In fact, I think Tether have got their stable coin on the Lightning, like Bitcoin L2 Lightning network. So they are trying to scale Lightning network so that they can actually do stablecoin transactions on Bitcoin, the network, which is hugely ironic because Bitcoin, the Satoshi vision is all about like, I guess, peer-to-peer cash and things like that, but also about permissionless, censorship resistant money transfer or value transfer, whereas Tether has a freeze function. You can literally just blacklist anyone. So that's the irony.
A lot of the new ones do. I think that's the DAI replacement Sky has a freeze function.
Yeah.
PayPal's one had a freeze function. I don't even know if that's still a thing.
Really create a stable coin as like someone heavily regulated without that. They must like insert it somewhere, unless you're like a dev just building, some silly thing and you just launch it and you're a nobody. If you have like some sort of head in the real world of the regulatory framework, it must be part of compliance or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's because obviously the banks don't want to compete as well, and so and the politicians want to be able to say that, oh no, it's not for laundering, and we're not facilitating North Korea or Iran because we can just freeze their shit. It's just like a get out of jail thing, but it undermines the whole ethos of crypto. But also,
I wonder if they ever used it if it would depeg. That would be interesting, because like you should be able to see events on chain when they censor.
It did depeg.
Like USDC did that big depeg.
Yeah,
and then Tether and other things were affected. But I remember that weekend because it was on a weekend. I feel like it was like 2 years ago. USDC depegged. Everybody was freaking out. But Liquidity, LUSD, went to like $1.15, and I switched my my stable coins from, I think I didn't have USDC, I had DAI or something, but it was affected too. I switched it into LUSD, and I actually ended up making money that weekend. And then I think on Sunday night, when LUSD went to $1.10, I used it to buy back USDC at 86 cents. And which probably came back to $1 on Monday. It was fantastic.
I mean, don't forget that OA also did that trade. I think.
Oh yeah, but he made like $3.5 million.
Yeah, because he took all the USD, or I guess the US. No, he must have taken the DAI and bought USDT and USDC when it was down at 86 cents. Yeah. So he made the mean when it reverted to the mean. He made that.
I made like $700. I was like, woohoo, party. But yeah, he made like
The OA just made a casual 30 mil.
Hey guys, speaking of those SAC funds that got converted into Ethereum, do you guys like? I think Abdul, you touched on this before about what could happen with those funds. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think that. I can't imagine those funds being deployed directly. I more likely, in my mind, them being staked, and then the proceeds being used as a, perpetual way to.
If that was his plan, why wouldn't he have done that already? Like, why doesn't he have it in like validators?
I mean,
true. That's a good point.
They could have put that ETH into, like a lending protocol and I don't know, Aave or something, and borrowed and done the Michael Saylor sort of strategy sort of thing as well. Bought more ETH or bought Bitcoin, it goes up, borrow more against it, buy more. You know, he could do that. But I guess there's contract risk and there's liquidation risk. But yeah, just putting it somewhere and earning staking yield, I like putting it through Lido or Rocket Pool. I mean, there's no reason
just
why you couldn't
within
do that, right?
ETH, like he could run validators himself, right? Like 166,000 ETH.
Yes.
And it takes 32 ETH to run a validator, right? That's 5,187 and a half validators, right? On Ethereum.
Yeah.
Like obviously,
crazy.
you know, that'd be a lot of button pressing, but the revenue would be fantastic. So I feel like that's not the plan, because that plan could already be in place and it would have been profitable. He must have made that choice not to for a reason.
Yes, that's right. I mean, one thing I speculated
What's
on.
the max
I know, and I
validators
get-
you can have on one server? Do you know,
One
Faster Bill? What's the
server.
max number of valid, or like just one computer? You know, you set up a
Well,
you can
on
have
Pulse,
like
people
multiple
have like
instances of
5,000.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So if it's the same code, like
It just depends how
So
much
theoretically,
juice
you
your
could have, like,
server had.
I think you could
like
have
you can,
like
you know how you
thousands.
set up, you can have thousands, right? You can have thousands
Yeah.
like getting
Yeah,
validated
so, like,
on one
depends on
machine.
your hardware, no?
Yeah, it's
Mm.
hardware.
And you could run virtual hardware, and then it's scalable to anything, basically, right? I think at a certain point it becomes cheaper to break things up into multiples, probably, rather than all in one place. But I imagine you could just, but if you're willing to pay, you can get as much juice as you want.
So my speculation was is that how would we know if there isn't a, like, say that is being used as collateral for a loan, like obviously not a on-chain loan, but like that could actually be happening. We don't even really know.
Well, I think
I mean,
we
you'd have
do
to
though,
just
right?
do-
Because it's listed as like it's in a wallet. It wouldn't be in, if it was in a protocol, it would be in a protocol. Like you
it's not
get
on
to take it
on-chain.
on.
Like, no, I'm not talking about an on-chain one. Yeah.
It's also just a lot of money to be moving around. Like that would give me
Oh.
nightmares. It would give me nightmares, like opening that wallet. You know, that's scary.
It would make a target, right? Like anything you rolled 166,000 ETH in would be like, this is the target. Like, you know,
Yeah,
the
you need
French
to have
hacker
small
known as
feet.
the Fox
Well,
would be like after you.
Isn't it like 20 wallets though, or more? Like
Probably. But
Who
still,
knows?
it's still a
it's still a
target.
lot. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Fully. Let's say hello to the chat here, just so I don't forget. Obese Spark Driver, what is up, bro? Hope
Good night.
the gym is still going well for you. I know he was
Is that a
saying he's only going
white? That is
twice
a
a week,
white
but-
Fat Albert right there.
Indeed.
Yeah, true. That's Fat Albert, but with blonde hair, and yeah, there you go.
Nice. Good eye.
Hey.
Arizo Evagin? Arizo Evagin? Bro, that's hard, even for me. And I know a thing or two about having names that are unpronounceable. Word up, KD. What is going on? CD Fasadul, can you comment on that Jim Rat crypto rant stream? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a bit of a rodent problem in the PulseChain ecosystem lately. Hearing a lot of FUD from the rat, but look, I mean, just mute him. Like he went nuclear about 2 weeks ago. Like he was kind of like mildly just irritating, and then now he's just gone full nuclear. So
I think he just
released a
launched
coin?
meme coin on somewhere that will not be named, and I think that's what this was leading up to. Which is fine. Which is fine. Like he can launch a meme coin. I don't have any objection.
Very predictable.
Yeah, like he's drawing attention to himself, and dissing Richard as the method of drawing attention, and then he launches a meme coin. Like, okay, fine.
That's a very novel approach. I've never heard that one before.
It's never been done before.
Straight out of Vampire Jack's playbook.
There's
or the Tang
more
Gang,
than that.
or anybody who's trying to get clout from somebody.
That Joker guy, that guy did that. He was one of the first. I think that's before PulseChain.
Yeah, GRC is the new Joker.
Yeah. Yes, true. It's funny because sometimes people will say, I can't believe that this guy Brandon or something is like FUDing, and I'm like, Brandon, bro, I muted that guy like 2 years ago. You know, or, like, is he still FUDing?
Oh, he is. Yeah,
Jesus,
his FUD
it's
is
like,
funny.
At least
I don't mind his FUD so much.
man, I think I blocked him like 2 years ago, so he's just not even on my timeline, like on my reality. So people are getting
He's just
upset
an
about
emotional
something.
guy.
It's like,
On a good day, he's happy and he posts bullish things. On a bad day, he
nah,
posts sad things. Right?
I don't have
Like,
time for that. That's some
yeah,
female, or that's some some energy there that I'm not down with. Like, just let's keep it real
Bitch
with the
ass energy right there,
emotions.
man. Just say it.
Like, let's just,
I'm
well,
with you.
just like, let's not get overly emotional over every little thing. You know, come on, people.
I like to look at
Like,
it
that's
from
what
more of a
children do.
business perspective. Like I think some of these people can be saved. So I have not blocked them. And I'm open to bring GRC back into the fold.
Oh, really? Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I've got stuff to do, man. Like, he can just, for me, he can just whine into the void because I've just got this muted, and then so he's just yapping, but I
Then
can't
it's
hear
done.
it.
Yeah.
So it's
That
like,
is maybe check back in 3 months. Like
yeah,
set a clock on it.
it'll be proportional to the chart, right? Like, so when Hex is up to 10 cents or something, then he'll be back and like,
It's
I
like
only did
it's
it
like
for these
I got my own
reasons.
kids I need to bring up. I haven't got time for these fucking losers. I've not
Yeah,
got
Yeah,
time to
exactly.
like
Like,
handhold these. Like they're gonna have to like work it out themselves at some stage, and
that's right.
their way of
Figure it out
working through
yourself.
it right now is crying and getting attention on Twitter. I don't think that ultimately. I mean, look, the only reason they're still around is because they care. They care about like they're upset about prices, obviously, and they care. They want prices to go up so they can dump their bags. And there's nothing
and
wrong with
they
that.
still
by the
have
way.
bags, right?
Well, they must have.
Well, stakes.
It's
I
like they
think, yeah.
must have bags. Why else would they still be around? Unless their level of like loserism or whatever their level is so like they're such terrible losers that they're going to stick around and FUD something they're not even like a part of it. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
That's you've
don't
got to be a real
underestimate
loser to do
the
that.
magnitude of the, it's a loser mindset. It's like, like winners just go about their day and they don't worry, and they just concentrate on improving themselves and optimizing their own capabilities and their opportunities. And winners just whine about shit that they can't control, and that's why they're always losers. It's like, okay, well, good luck with that strategy. I'm over here now doing some other shit, so enjoy my life.
And people who have a source of income, who are working, are not so tied to like the price. Like they sort of see the price go down. It's a bummer. They're like, yeah, maybe I'll buy a little bit more at these prices and lower my buy-in average so that when it does go up, I'm in profit earlier. But like, if they're just sitting there, I mean, there's the other side of the argument where it could be maybe they're doing it because they want to buy lower. Maybe they want it to be really low, but
I don't think the
I don't
guys
know
we've
that.
mentioned are that sophisticated. I know
Yeah,
like
I
some
don't think they
whales
have
do
that.
stuff like that, right? Like guys who are
Yes.
moving millions. But yeah, I'm pretty sure GRC is not filling his bags. Is not his motivation.
Ye-
But like, hey guys, like look at the, if you look at the big picture of like from a business perspective, right? Like, and we look at, not only users of something like PulseChain as customers, but also influencers, because we have a schwack load of influencers and they're all worth something. So when you lose an influencer, which is a type of customer, right? Like the most likely customer you can get is a customer you've had before when you're running a business, right? It's always a previous customer, whether they were mad at you or not. You're much more likely to get them to come back and make another purchase or, perform another action rather than get somebody brand new off the street, like who you'd have to advertise to for 3 months before they would even know what your name was. So like, when we look at guys like GRC, who's like, he's fallen off the horse, he's mad, he has a customer service issue, right? Like, if maybe it takes a couple months, but if he comes back and then he does the deal,
Well,
like,
you have to buy higher. This is the thing. So it's like once
okay
the
with him
FOMO
buying
kicks
higher.
in and he can buy higher, that's the penalty.
Yeah, that's
Being a
fine.
little
And he
bitch.
can tell all the people watching his show to buy higher too. But like, it would still serve the greater good.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And look, I'm happy for these people to buy higher, like when they FOMO back in, because they will have to. Like they will literally FUD the bottom, and then they will wait and it'll go up and they'll get FOMO and they'll buy back in. They won't say anything about it. But deep down, I know that that's what they'll do. And they know that they won't be able to stop themselves. Like they see it going up. No matter how much smack they've talked, they start seeing it go up again. They're going to be like, oh, I probably should buy back in.
And if they were permanently out, they'd just be gone. You wouldn't be hearing from them anymore, right? They'd be, they would have moved on. They haven't moved on because they're still like engaged, right? So like I'd be very happy to have them be on the customer list again in the future.
Okay. Well, let me just show you a quick clip.
Describes the behavior of some of these people. It's to cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah. I don't understand the whole like budget bags to make them go higher. Like what?
Yeah, what's your plan, dude? Yeah,
there's no
nonsensical.
It's not a lot of thinking. It's just,
or they're launching a meme coin on another chain.
Or they're just literally doing it for attention so that they can try and extract value from the ecosystem. So either way, some people, the other thing is you have to consider, and I'll just show this clip. Sometimes people are just straight up wrong, like, and that they FUD the bottom. So not necessarily, but sometimes. Like check this here at this example, right?
Crypto.
Yeah, it was always a hot dumpster fire.
Always?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that it was all fraud. Some of it was a pyramid scheme. There's never been anything there. It serves no purpose. It's not a store of value. It's not a medium of exchange. And as we have seen, if you want it decentralized and not under government control, it is a haven for fraudsters. And now it is in the process of going to zero, except for Bitcoin, which will probably go negative, because if we're moving into a world with carbon taxes, you have to take into account the energy that it took to produce it in the first place.
Well, that's certainly playing out with like FTX.
Yeah.
Where you're finding out that
there'll be more.
A house of cards.
Yeah,
do you feel like that's just sort of opened the door for people to examine all of crypto now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like as soon as you have one of the big ones go down, it's just
go down catastrophically within a week.
Yeah, I mean, just there's no intrinsic value to this asset, and now it's starting to be priced appropriately. So it has a what's Bitcoin at 16,000? It has another 17,000 to go down.
Duh, really?
Yeah, there's no intrinsic value to this product.
So that was
right
at
the bottom.
What a dumbass,
$16,000.
I followed him for a long time. His name's Peter Zion, and the more he's very, very good at like being so confident about like, well, there's a storm over in the Middle East, so the oil prices are going down, and he just
has no fucking idea, bro. He has no idea. All of his points, no matter how confident he was, were wrong. Right there. He couldn't have been any more wrong. Like at 16K, so BTC went from 69K down to 16K, and then he went on stream and told everyone that it was going to go negative, which doesn't make sense. But I mean, it's literally one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And that's just an example of someone fudding the actual bottom when he should have just gone all in on BTC at 16K.
He would make more than what he makes as an analyst or whatever he does.
But like we all should have gone all in on BTC at 16K.
We all should have.
Well, some of us did. Like not all in, but some of us did buy some at 16K because like I've literally got it's my pinned tweet. But my point is that he just said basically it's going to go down to zero from that point and he gave all these reasons. He said X, Y, Z, this is why, this is why, this is why. And he was completely wrong, like 100% wrong. So sometimes, people can just FUD the bottom and they can just be wrong. So I don't know if we should be like listening. There's not like a democracy of opinions where everyone's opinion has the same weight. Like everyone's opinion, like some people know more than others and they should be weighted appropriately. So I tend to listen to like Richard Hart and people who have a track record of, being billionaires, having successful business, doing 10,000 X's. It's like, this guy knows what's up. He's also been ahead of the game every single step of the way. And or just someone who's just like wrecked, and then like let's put their opinion on the same level and then treat them as equal weight. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, you need like a portfolio tracker or some like history of like, oh, you've gone up, so I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah, unless you're more successful, like significantly more successful to me than me, then it's like I'm going to take what you're saying with a grain of salt. I know that sounds harsh,
But he's probably never bought a crypto in his life and avoided it like the plague, and that's just the opinion he's going to hold for the rest of his days. So
I get that opinion though. I do get his opinion. I do because I hear it from so many people, like that same sort of idea that there's no intrinsic value. It's like what they're all missing. They're all missing this vital point. And the point is that the people who are interested in this tech don't trust the legacy systems as much as you do, right? We don't trust those legacy systems quite as much as you do, and we just want a life. We want like a life raft for exchanging value trustlessly between like peers that doesn't involve other people, and almost everyone that's in crypto gets that point that I can just like send you something to your account that you can make now. You can make it on the spot with maths, and I don't have to ask someone's permission now, and I don't have to ask someone's permission in a year's time or in 10 years' time. And that's a vital point that these people they just don't grasp it. Maybe they just don't know it yet, and it's a matter of like education. But it is something that I think every crypto bro sort of gets. They all get that point and they like it.
The permissionlessness of it. Yeah.
Censorship.
If you think about it, nearly most assets, you think that you own them, but you have to really question whether you do. So say, for example, your house, you own a house, but most of the time you've got a mortgage on it. So really the bank owns it.
But do you own it? Even if you do own it outright, do you actually own it? That's a real question,
because
bro.
if it can be taken away from you, right, then do you really own it? So
can you even get a title anymore?
Well, what is ownership
in Australia?
Is relevant.
This is an important point.
Depends.
But this is what you're saying. If fast Abdul is what is ownership.
There is some title, but it's not for us.
I guess the thing is, it comes down to what you're saying, Fast Abdul, which is like, what is the definition of ownership? And my definition is that it's something that can't be taken away from you. So if your freedom, for example, is subject to the whims of a government, then you can be locked up. Then do you really have freedom? You know what I mean? Like if you don't pay your taxes, then you go to jail. Like they can take your house away. So do you really own your house? Like at some level, even things that you think that you own, you really don't. Whereas blockchain, like it's this sort of truth of ownership. Like and even then, do you even own it, or do you just have knowledge of keys? Right? You don't even own it.
Yeah, the
because
blockchain.
You can only update a ledger, so you don't even own that. But at least you have.
That's all you have with crypto, right?
Yes, but you have, I guess, unfettered access to it, to updating the.
Yeah. So the point I was making about titles in Australia is, I believe recently they've gone to a system of digital titles. So you can't even get a print. You used to be able to get a title and have the title in your hand. I don't believe that you can even get that anymore. I believe here that and things are done with digital signatures, and it's worrisome because and the reason I'm thinking in this line is because I watched an interview that who's the Australian just Adam Stokes.
Oh yeah.
Adam Stokes did with this former Australian senator who had his property taken away from him by the ANZ Bank, apparently.
Oh wow!
And it came out like a few days ago, and it's a must watch for every Australian. a must watch for every Australian,
Damn.
especially if you have property or want to buy property. You should like listen to this because it's quite interesting. I didn't know that things went down like this in Australia at
Yeah,
least.
I mean, this is the thing, and it comes back to also like we were talking about with Tether and these stable coins. You know, if they can just be censored and blocked, then it's not real crypto. Like that's the thing. So because we have that in the real world where it's like people can take your shit and freeze your assets or whatever. So that's why we have crypto. So that's what delineates between them. Yeah, I'll have to check that out, bro. That sounds cool. Spike, still here, bitches. That's the way. That is the spirit. Like just you know, price goes up, price goes down. Check your watch. Is it November? Is ETH at above 7K maybe? And then see what time it is. The Sapper, Phone Chill. Look where I do things. Obsessing do no good. Yes. Class like.
Can I shout out to the Sapper? Can I shout out to the Sapper? Can I just say the Sapper was the first person to ever watch the Hex Late Show back in the day. Yeah.
Oh wow.
One viewer, the Sapper, the only person in the chat. He is the OG, like the OG.
The number one. The number one.
There you go.
Number one,
That's pretty big.
That's
number one subscriber.
It's like a little chat icon or something.
Yeah, he's still sapping.
Still going.
That's wicked. BMA, thank you. You guys are awesome. You are also awesome, sir. You are amongst the diamond hands, the elite crew of diamond hands that are still here. Because see, we've shaken out the weak hands, we've shaken out the strong hands. Now there's just diamond hands left. The Sapper said $65. I'm buying Norway. The fjords. That's do it. You can have a fjord party.
I'm buying Madagascar.
Not fjords.
Goldens.
You're buying Madagascar.
Yeah, like the island, not the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say yes.
Unless if Hex doesn't go to $5, I'll buy the movie. But if it goes to $5, I'm buying the island.
Either way, you'll get Madagascar. That's right.
Indeed.
Can we just make an island somewhere? Find a fairly shallow volcano in the Pacific and just maybe bomb it and make it like just terraform naturally.
But
and
the Chinese do it all the time. They make fake islands and then declare them China. Like it's you can just, if you have enough cement, you can do anything.
Yeah. Bro, I was just thinking, you're talking about changing your thing to Pulse Jitsu. You could change it to, is it King Julian from Madagascar?
Oh, right.
The lemur? that would be an adorable. Yeah, King Julian with the little lemur. And then everyone would be like, oh, King Julian. What a nice guy this guy is.
Yeah, I'm
shows
not
how
quite
people
sure that's the look, but hey, why not?
Adorable.
Hey guys, I'm gonna duck out. Nice chatting to you again. I've got to be somewhere very soon.
No dramas.
But awesome, and cheers to everyone in the chat.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for dropping by, Golden Bull. Always appreciate your sagacious advice, your wisdom. And we'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
Take care.
Cool. I always feel like
Did you guys catch the debate I did today?
No.
I was on with
still relatively early over where I am, so I haven't seen a lot.
Oh yeah, I guess you would have been sleeping. I forget the time zones. But I did. I was on with RH Max, and he's been doing these debate streams, right? So
all right.
And that's Jim Rat Crypto was featured recently on a debate stream with RH Max. That one was pretty brutal. He did with Dipcatcher.
I saw that.
Forth. You know, some of them were interesting. Today, though, we had we were debating which was the best core token.
Oh, okay.
Right. So there's 4 people on the screen debating for the 4 core tokens, and until shortly before the debate, I thought mine was Ink. I thought that's what I was debating, but Brizology was there, and Brizology was doing Ink. So then I was doing Hex. So I debated for Hex. It was
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'll have to check it out.
That's
But
a good
is there like, have you got the Cliff Notes version of why you think Hex is the best of the tokens?
Oh, I have an entire spreadsheet that I did up 15 minutes before the show. Let me just pop it up so I can
Just
give
whip
you
it up.
the verbatim. But like I think the main points were that like Hex is proven, all right, and the other things are new, right, relatively speaking, and that Hex doesn't require the same inputs as the other products. It kind of does its own thing, whereas the other ones are like begging for liquidity. They're begging for new customers. Hex has its customers. It just needs time, right? So if everyone's locked for, so it doesn't have that much liquidity, but it's kind of the point. Everyone's locked for 15 years. You don't need exit liquidity. You need patience, that sort of thing. But here's my summation statement was that, PulseX, everybody's chasing volume. With Pulse, they're chasing validators. With Ink, they're chasing emissions. But with Hex, you're rewarded for doing absolutely nothing, and that's on purpose.
Nice.
By design.
Yeah. I like that.
I could also
think
argue Ink or PulseX or Pulse if that came up, but it was fun to argue Hex, especially because I didn't expect to. So it's like, oh, okay, I've got to get this down because it's not usually what I talk about because there's so many guys who are so good at talking about it. Like Crispy really should have taken my place. I think he was unavailable. I'm pretty sure that's why.
right. Gotcha.
But yeah, so I'm not used to pumping Hex, but it wasn't that hard to argue Hex against the other core coins.
Yes. Look, I mean, some of the pros, I think, of Hex have taken a bit of a beating, I would have to say, right? Because one of the major things about it was that it is trustless yield. So, you can get yield from locking up your coins in protocols and trusting middlemen, and then you can lose all your shit. So the whole idea with Hex is that it's on chain. You trust the contract, which has been audited, and then it's you don't rely on anyone else to give you your yield. The code just pays it out. So that was for me the value proposition of Hex. And then of course there's the game theory of like you have some portion of the participants being staked, and then so the people who remain liquid get diluted because of the inflation paid to the stakers, and then you have this sort of game mechanics of like, yes, if you're liquid you get diluted, but that's the price that you're willing to pay to be able to sell at any time and time the market. Whereas for people who have long-term vision can just sort of stake it out. They're not being diluted, they've been rewarded, but yes, they have penalties if they want to end their stake. So that's the problem, is that the yield has been significantly reduced. So it's still trustless yield, but the payout per T share is now significantly reduced now that the OA has staked massive amounts.
I think that's a feature, not a benefit, going into a bull market. The OA has removed inflation, right, which will result in less sell pressure, and the OA has levers to pull to put that inflation back on, or even enchant it. Like he could emergency end stake, paying out a portion of that to the current stakers, but he could just reset everything to how it was, like in a day. Right?
Yeah, that's where I was going with that, right? So like I wasn't trying to FUD my own bags, right? I wasn't trying to FUD my own bags. I'm just saying that's it. You're like, bam, got this. But like, so you had the value proposition, and then I think at this point in time, the value proposition has been diluted somewhat, and I think that's a fair statement. So it still pays out trustless yield, but the yield is now diminished to the point where the payout per T share is relatively low, particularly in dollar terms. But like you say, that has been intentional because there was too many people that were exploiting the yield and then just dumping it at like rolling stakes and things like that. And then so the system was able to adapt, and particularly in a bear market, to the OA to stake all that out, reduce the payout per T share, but still have the mechanism where it can EES. And then because half of those EES gets paid back to the OA, it can do that again and again, and then it can effectively change the payout per T share through emergency end stakes. So we haven't seen that yet. So at this point in time, like in this, like, you know, fraction of time, I think the value proposition is somewhat diminished. But I think in the future, once you start to see a few EESs from the OA, and then, you know, it gets rejigged, then I think the value proposition will come back. And then for the people who just believed the whole time that it would, like, they will be rewarded.
Yeah,
and
if
so
you
the
were
same thing,
taking out 15 years, like this is just a blip on that chart.
yes. So it's just a small time frame. And the same could be said for the ink inflation, right? So a lot of people will say, well, why should I provide liquidity and do yield farming? Because the ink rewards have been down. They're down like 40x from what they were.
97% reduction in inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's a fair comment. And I have seen people sort of say, well, you know, I don't want to do yield farming and yada, yada. And that's fair. But then when the bull sort of, say the prices go up by 20x, right?
Which is much easier with less liquidity because people aren't doing yield farming, right?
Exactly.
Right,
Which is, again, intentional.
All the good stuff here.
No, but it's all intentional, right? Like these things are done for a reason. Like the inflation was cut because it was a burden on the system. And then now the liquidity is low. So that was the reason why. And then now we've got low liquidity, can pump higher. And of course, now we can see the downside, of low liquidity, which means that these whales who were going to dump, like these sellers who were always going to sell, they're getting like less value out of the system, less economic energy. They're locking in losses. So that means they can't hurt the price in the future. And then so when the price does go up eventually, you know, say it does 20x from here, then liquidity can be added back. The farms can be rejigged so that the payout of ink goes back up, and people are more encouraged to provide liquidity. And then that almost creates a floor so that it's like a thicker liquidity. It's harder for it to move down. So that's the way I see it. And then of course people will be like, oh, now the ink yield is really good, I should get into the farms. So yeah, they're just different time frames, and they're not true for all time. They're only true for right now.
Totally. Yeah. People always jump on the right now, you know, but like the people who've been here for a while, they can see that there's method to this madness, and it's in fact not madness at all. Like this all makes a ton of sense. And it's a big brain that came up with the math of like, oh yeah, we actually have to pay people less right now. And in the end, they'll end up getting more if they don't, you know, jeet their bags.
That's the key.
Yep.
If you're a panic seller and you get washed out at the lows, then you won't have the opportunity later on. So
washing people out is part of the game too. It's not a part of the game I like, but it's definitely there's some purpose to how that's working.
100%. Condor Man, what is up? How you going there, fellow warrior? When is RH going to make Hex great again? So this is the thing. I reckon Hex is a sleeper. I think that people will, sort of talk about their whatever coins, PRC20s, this and that. But when push comes to shove, like, RH, I don't know the man personally. I certainly don't speak for him, but I get the impression that Big Rich is competitive, and that he might want to, rub some green candles in the face of the haters, so to speak. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to want to, if people are talking smack about him, he's going to want to show them, why, like you said, the method to the madness, like why he's done this in a certain way. So yeah, it's just, it's eventual, like it's imminent. Like, I feel like it will happen. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Ink will outperform. Maybe PLS will outperform. Maybe PLSX will outperform.
Math-wise, Ink has a huge advantage. And we saw that just a couple of days ago. There was like a 35% pump on Ink. It went up to almost $2, right? Mm-hmm. But because that low liquidity thing we talked about is back down to like $1.35 now, right? But it went from $1.35 to $2. you know, in
Yeah.
a night, basically, right? Like one
Yeah, I think
whale
someone
was
bought
like, I want
like
that.
someone bought like 400 grand's worth of ink, I think.
Yeah,
And it
but
pushed
like
up the
400
Hart's law,
grand,
pushed up
like
everything
is
up.
not that much in comparison. Like if you put 400 grand into Hex or Pulse or PulseX, especially Pulse or PulseX, like you wouldn't get a 35% increase in the price, right? Not anywhere
Well, I
close.
thought Hex on PulseChain has less liquidity than ink.
Good question. Let's check.
I think if I look at, oh, here, I can bring it up here. I mean, if I go by liquidity, yeah, so there's Hex in the PLSX pool, 200 grand. There's eHex, of course, which is the lowest liquidity. And then there's Hex on PulseChain versus PLS, 1.7 mil, then ink, 3 mil and 3 mil. So actually, yeah, Hex has got lower liquidity than all of them.
Interesting.
Another thing that's interesting, while I've got this up, is if you look at Hex PLSX as a ratio. So I think I was looking at like PLSX versus Hex. I can't remember, but in Hex terms, look at this. This is PLSX. So it's hard when you're talking ratios, right? So this is like, there is a line of resistance here at 0.0047 hex per PLSX. But look at it, just tag it and then get rejected off it. So the PLSX has been outperforming Hex since November of last year. So stepping up, you know, PLSX has been outperforming, and it hits this all-time high and it's just rejected off it here. And maybe it's going to reverse. So I'm saying that here is a great time to rotate Hex into PLSX, and here is a great time to rotate PLSX into Hex. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So anyway, see what happens with this. But
yeah, when people watch those ratios, like, and they're not planning on leaving the ecosystem, those are the winning trades. I found a way to do that with the liquidity forks. You can basically, like, if you're using liquidity forks like Liquid Loans, EarnFlex, or Ink Printer, and you see a price pump like was on Ink the other night, and you take a loan out at the high, and then let it dip down. If you think it's going to be the high, then buy back in at the low. You can rapidly increase your bags, right? And if you're wrong, it's like a fail safe, right? Because if you were wrong, like, okay, Ink went to $2, you take a loan out of $2, right? Then you wait for it to go back to $1.35, and then you take that loan, you buy more Ink, you put it back into your vault. You know, that would be a win as far as token count. But if you were wrong and Ink kept going and it went up to $4, you just take that same money and you pay off your loan and you get your Ink back, right? So, and as far as an opportunity cost, it's like, you know, around 0.5% is what you get charged to do that transaction. So it's like, it's trading in a way, except for if you were wrrong for you.
It is, it's kind of a short or a long, really.
Shorter or long, but without the
multiple.
Like the same type of risk of liquidation you'd get by using like a leverage trading thing, right? There is a risk of liquidation, but I don't think, like, I'm not recommending people do what I just said and be in the range where you'd be at the risk of liquidation. Like, you stay well above that, right? So that's not the danger, right? And it's just like there's a math formula.
Sure.
And you just put it in, like, okay, I think this is the top. Take out some money, it goes down, put the money back in, buy the token, put it back in. And if you're wrong and the price doubles from there, triples from there, like, oh, you borrowed $1,000, pay back $1,000, and you get every token that you put in back, right?
Yeah, that's certainly one way to do it. I think that's the savvy thing is, you see people taking opportunities, you see a dip, go in.
We have all this DeFi stuff, right? But like, people are like, we have like almost all the tools that are on Ethereum are on PulseChain. And like
Mm.
you can like, and I don't recommend people like get into the deep heavy leverage unless you're a serious player. Like we have a GMX fork, it's fame.io, and like
Yes.
it totally works, but it's that's for the pros, right? But we have an
Mm.
Aave fork, we have multiple liquidity forks. There's things where you can take a loan out against your crypto, and all you have to do to get your crypto back is pay back your loan. Right. So as long as you don't do something stupid with the money, like buy a Lambo, which is hard to get back into crypto, then
Yes.
yeah, very hard to retokenize the Lambo, then like you can leverage your position for pennies on the dollar, right? Without facing a huge risk of loss like you would with 30x leverage, right? So it's like, but like
Yeah.
if you looked at the long term of doing that, like if you did that every time, like like it would turn into a 30x increase in your bag.
Yes. Look, I understand there's different leverage is a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So we're used to dealing with people saying, the 4 L's, ladies, liquor, leverage, and luggage.
Indeed.
So, and that's fair enough. But there is, I guess, in some regard, there are lots of places for leverage in finance and things like that. It doesn't have to be a 40x leverage where you just like someone just apes in like 100% of their bag with a 40x leverage. Like that's dumb.
Totally.
That's James winning. Like you're going to get wrecked and lose $100 million. Like don't do that. But there are things like, for example, you have a house that has gone up in value and you can take an equity loan against the appreciation
for a very, very low interest rate because it's secure,
at a very low interest rate.
And then you can do smart stuff with the money potentially, right?
Yes, and then you could put something like into the lows. So that's effectively leverage in a sense because you're borrowing other people's money against an asset that's gone up. And then or like you say, there's ways where you can take a loan out at the top, and if it goes down lower, you get. If it goes up, then you can pay back the loan. Or I mean, there's, I guess, even say if you were using, I think Somi has been talking about it lately. Like if you use like say even 1% of your bag, and you're using like low leverage, like I don't know, like 3x or something like that, then I guess it's not the same as just people aping their entire bag in at a 30x or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, these things are available, and I think a lot of people, because the alt season has been so dragged out, like we haven't seen an alt season. I think a lot of people are turning to leverage, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Like this is just what naturally people aren't seeing the gains that they were hoping for. And I'm seeing a lot of people starting to talk about it, a lot of exchanges shilling their leverage stuff. So we can't really ignore that it exists. But one, in saying that, one bit of like copium that I would have for alt season being delayed and all this sort of stuff is that I was looking at this total 2 versus BTC. So this is the whole crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, like total 2 versus Bitcoin. So really it's in my mind it's a good metric of how all of the alts are performing against Bitcoin. And some people do others BTC. It's basically the same, but others is outside the top 10. This includes the top 10, so total 2 versus BTC. And really, since December 2022, it's been below this 20-week MA and the 10. So, and the 20-week and the 10-week have been inverted. So really, what you need to see is that the 10-week moving average goes above the 20-week, and you need the price to be above both. And then that's when you'll know that it's like alt season. But one of the things is, I guess, you get these little micro, alt weeks and things like that, like this one here, where it almost, the price goes above, but doesn't stay there, doesn't retest it, I guess. And what happens is you can see it preceded by when the MACD crosses over. And so you see this every now and then. So when the yellow goes above the blue, it's pretty rare. In fact, it only really happens there. And yeah, it's sorry, when the blue goes above the yellow here. So it's where you get these sort of weeks, and we're just about to do it again. So it's possible you will see a small uptick against Bitcoin, but really, I'm sort of thinking it's going to be more towards, November. I'm hoping to see this kind of bottom out, and you see the 10 above the 20 and the price above both. So that's just like one indicator, I guess, that you can sort of see that like all alts are pretty much wrecked until you start to see that metric tick up. And actually, speaking of Somi, he had a really interesting video. I clipped it. I think this explains what I was sort of saying. And I was going to use an example of like Matic, because that was so bullish in previous cycles. And it was just like, people were just going all in on Matic, and it has underperformed terribly. But his example is actually Link. So let me just clip this. Here we go.
We're near rock bottom. And it's been a very, very, very long time. Everyone's just basically upset with everything. And, I feel it, friend. I'm upset too. But, like, why to be upset. You're just upset at the world. Okay? Because it's a macro business cycle. It's got nothing to do with individual coins and founders and things out here, which I'm going to show you. And you're from PulseChain community, any other community out there. I mean, like, look at Chainlink, man. Chainlink, friends, literally got given a free pass from the SEC. BlackRock have chosen them. Swift, literally International Bug Eater Squared have chosen them. The IMF, friends, pretty much that's who they employ, okay? They are going to use Chainlink to control CBDC the whole world, all right? They have been chosen. How's their price doing? Dog shit. Absolutely poop still. By the way, the Link ETH ratio, which is horrendous itself, is down 89% since August 2020. Okay, so it's literally been 5 years. All right. Link BTC is down 93%.
There you go. So yeah, classic Somi. That was hilarious. How's the price? Dog shit. But yeah, so Link BTC is down like 93%. Like a lot of these alts that have even had every advantage, in terms of adoption and, like the fact that Link never got an SEC.
Link is the best oracle there is. Like, it's used by everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, it had every advantage, and it's still down 93% against BTC. So we have just seen all the alts get crushed. Like, it's been a Bitcoin cycle. So when people are crying about whatever Pulse price and things like that, it's just like, yeah, look around, bro. Everything is wrecked. So you're just gonna have to wait, is what it boils down to. But yeah,
Yep.
Let's see what else is going on in the chat here. I think I might be a bit behind with the chat, so apologies for that. Oh, okay. So Ash said he took a 2x, and then initial holiday sum has been realized. It sounds like he didn't sell when we told him to sell, but no, I think
2x is pretty well.
Yeah. 2K was initial. And yes, Jim was working out. That's wicked. IH's gym stuff is actually really interesting. You know how he's been doing these bench and deadlifts and stuff like every day.
Swole Richard.
Yeah, Rip Richard. When he comes back, that's going to be awesome. But
he doesn't have to be ripped, but if he looks healthy, I think it bodes well to have a healthy looking founder.
Yeah, it certainly helps your argument if you're talking about longevity and things like that. But I saw some recent stuff. I was watching some rock climbing videos and things, and this guy he was trying to increase his finger strength and does a lot of like no rope climbing and all this sort of stuff. And there was this study that sort of suggested that, in terms of grip strength and finger strength and all this sort of stuff, it's not necessarily just about the muscles, but it's about like the tendons and the connective tissue that translate the muscle from like the bone into the muscle, into the like the pulleys and the ligaments and things like that in the hands. And there was this study that suggested that he did very lightweight hangs on like a fingerboard, and I think just 10 minutes twice a day, so 8 hours apart, and it like thickens the tendons and the
Nice.
connective tissue in your hands, and it made his grip strength, like, I'm not sure what factor it made them a lot, but it made them significantly better for his rock climbing.
I
And
was
it's like,
thinking
yeah,
of
that's
getting one of those fingerboards, like for jujitsu purposes, but like instead of a pull-up bar, have like, you know, you can still do pull-ups. They're just, you're using your fingers, right?
fingers. Yeah, me too, man. I was looking at fingerboards as well, because it's like, I like the idea of this, you know, not necessarily like you do chin-ups and things like that, pull-ups, but just having like a lightweight hang. So you're not actually increasing your muscles as such, but you're increasing the connective tissue with the like the ligaments and the tendons.
It's only so lightweight if you weigh 200 pounds. You know, there's
Yes.
not very many 200-pound rock climbers, right? Like, they're
Yes.
usually, like, they look more like a bass than they do like you or I.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And I mean, but a lot of the time they're using their legs.
Yeah.
Say again, base rating?
Rock climbers, like, their strength is very functional, whereas like a gym bro is just like all bicep and legs, you know.
Mm.
And it's just like muscle mass, but it's not. I don't know. Also, on the same topic, I remember reading somewhere they did some sort of meta-analysis on what do you strengthen for longevity, and it came back that the people with the highest grip strength have the best life expectancy. So
yeah, I've seen a similar thing. Yeah.
yeah,
And so it's a good
All
metric
mu-
of, because I guess you're sort of, it's like the chain, like the skeletal muscle like chain as well. Like,
or maybe if you fall off something, you can grip back on, and those people survive longer. I don't know.
maybe in terms of falls and things. Yeah. I think it's an indication of overall strength, but it's just interesting that I never really thought about thickening tendons before. Like, I didn't really realize that
another one.
you can
You
thicken
can increase
like,
your deadlift by just walking around barefoot a lot. Like the
Okay.
muscles in your toes, once strengthened, increase your deadlift.
yeah, apparently your Achilles, like your whatever that I mean, Klaus would know more about this than I do. I don't know much. I did all the physics and chemistry. Unfortunately, I never really did a lot of human biology, so I'm always like really interested by basic human biology. I'm like, wow. And people are like, yeah, didn't you ever do human biology? I'm like, not really. But yeah, so it's like whatever that Achilles like tendon is, like that gets ultra thick on people who do a lot of deadlifts, and so it's like a transfer of energy from the bones and the muscles. Like but it's interesting that even so, the thing is that this study was suggesting that even lightweight hangs, but with 8 hours in between, like twice a day, could significantly improve your ligaments and things like that. It's also about like repair of ligaments and things like that if you've got some sort of damage. Anyway, not sure how I got onto that. What's up, Hex Ninja Turtle? What's up? What
was that?
And yes. So yeah, Ash said, yeah, good call. Unfortunately, thanks you guys for printing a couple of red candles. Yeah, we thought he might. What is going on? HEXican lost in Asia. That guy is a geopolitical guy. Yes. So that was the guy who was just saying some dumb shit right at the bottom. Is more, I think, geopolitical.
Yeah. The Peter dude.
Freehold title. Yes, governments can resume land if it suits them. Yeah, like this is the sad thing. And so yeah, good to see 43. That's right, because the Sapper was number 1. What's up? What's up? Rapid unbox. Yes, it is super delayed gratification. It is true. Yaveen, what's going on? Replay gang. Humans are the best self-maintaining, self-repairing machines. yeah, I'm always fascinated with the human body and how it can do certain things. Like I just like I saw a thing once where this guy had multiple personality disorder, I guess some sort of schizophrenia, and he was allergic to bees. And if he was stung by a bee, like they could, like this was like provable in like an experiment, induce him
Yeah.
in another one of his personalities, and then his body would produce like the antibodies for the bee venom,
It's
and he
real
would
full on like
he
that.
would stop, like he would be in anaphylactic shock from the bee sting, and then he would like change his personality like into one of these other personalities, and then the body would produce the antibodies, and he would go out of anaphylactic shock. And I'm just like, what? How is the brain controlling your
There's so much we
physiology?
don't know. And like maybe, you know, all the, I don't know, not to get too esoteric, but like maybe there's something to the whole like spiritual component and the whole understanding thyself and whatnot that just doesn't get covered.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like that whole where is the consciousness in the body and that sort of thing. I've seen some people talk about there's these microtubules in the brain that apparently have
Oh yeah, and they're going on about how they're quantum now. Or whatever.
entangled.
Yeah.
Yeah, quantum entanglement, and it's like, yeah, maybe.
But like they derive some strange conclusions from those. But it's like, hey, okay, look, I'm open to it.
Look, yeah, there's not a lot of places that you can pinpoint a consciousness on a person. So it's
Well, yeah.
it's still the jury is out. We need some adjudication from Fast Abdul to be like, where is the consciousness? Pointed it out.
It's in the
Show
balls.
us. It's in the balls. Knew it.
Could be. Yeah,
Along
no, I
with a
think
lot of plastics.
that's a bigger question.
What's that?
How can I tokenize this?
Yeah.
I tokenize consciousness. Oh
Your
god.
balls?
I mean,
The bug eaters are working.
oh, your
on it.
balls. How do you tokenize your balls? Yeah,
Good
okay.
question.
Yeah, you got two,
Uh,
right? They're
HEXican
fungible.
sperm bank. That's the answer.
Sperm bank on the blockchain. Yeah, look,
That
NFTs per
could be
deposit.
something.
Get impregnated by HEXican today.
Look, when the price is up over 50 cents, that might be a feasible.
Well,
Indeed.
at this point, I think anyone would be doing anything for money these days.
Yeah. Look,
Uh,
anything to buy more.
Anything to buy the dip. That's
Yeah.
No, it is pretty crazy what they can tokenize these days, and you're sort of thinking, like, I wonder
Yeah.
if I think real estate, I think, is going to be the biggest one. I think they're going to tokenize houses and put them on
But
the
like,
blockchain.
what if someone, somebody accidentally spends their NFT? Do you not have your
lose their
house
house.
anymore? Like it's like, oh, I lost my wallet. I don't have my house anymore.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the risk, right?
On real life stuff gets a little spirillous on chain. That's why
But in
like the
terms of-
gold stuff never really works.
How do you mean, like the gold
So like
tokenization?
if
or-
no, so like I know there's countless projects that are always like, we're going to revolutionize the world by putting gold on chain. And it's
Right.
like, well, who holds the gold? And what if the gold gets stolen? And
Ah,
there's
I
like
see.
when it's not digital, there's these extenuating circumstances that mean that it gets a little funny.
There's trust there as well. Yeah, who's actually
Yeah. And then like, what are you on chain for if it's all trusted, But anyway,
Mm.
it's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool. And maybe there's room for growth there, but it needs
The
good.
only reason why I think that real estate will get tokenized inevitably is because
It's all
as
digital anyway these days.
yeah, well, I mean, just because scarce assets are becoming more scarce because we keep printing. And that's like, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, I must admit, because I'm like, yay, money printer goes burr, like let's print more money, have more liquidity in the system. But it's like, also, damn inflation, I can't believe that these guys keep printing so much money, like how irresponsible of them.
Well, yeah,
So
you
I
just
see
kind
that.
of happen
would
to
be-
be in assets, so you're kind of the beneficiary of the inadvertently
That's
of the
true.
money printing. You're kind
Okay,
of
that's
capturing
true.
inflation in some sense, like a bank would a long time
I
ago.
like that. That makes me feel slightly less of a hypocrite. I like
Yeah.
that. But I guess what I'm saying is that real estate is another scarce asset that over time
Mhm.
will always appreciate because of the increase of the money supply and inflation that we have.
Particularly,
So
yeah.
if that's the case, then future generations are just going to be literally priced out of houses, in which
I
case they
pretty
can
much
only buy.
already have. It's gonna be hard, man. I mean, I'm
Well, this is the
gunning
thing.
for it. But
So then you can only buy fractions of a house, right? So in
Yeah.
theory, like, not just you, but like a lot of people that have shared equity, and then the only
Mhm.
way to have, well, I would assume one way of doing it is to tokenize titles and then have shared equity. So you have fractions of
per
them.
house. I mean, there's already like REITs and stuff. You can buy commercial real estate like that.
Oh, can you like just like a 0.3 of
It's
a?
like they're like trusts or like whatever, kind of like how Michael Saylor does type things, not with the leverage, but like
Yeah.
it's called a REIT. What is
Okay.
a REIT? It's like an indexed chunk of commercial real estate that you can buy some and get the price appreciation that real estate
Right.
appreciates at.
There you go.
But you might have like $100, not like 700 grand, you know?
Yep. Makes sense. I think that's the way
That's
it's going to go.
multiple stonks, or I don't think it's a stonk, but you know what I mean.
I actually have a Michael Saylor clip here, which I
Cool.
thought was interesting. I think everyone really understands how MicroStrategy or strategy works, so it's probably not. But if for anyone who doesn't, this is like a really good 45-second clip.
What you're really, if you're a dentist and you make $200,000 a year in cash flow, you can buy 200,000 of Bitcoin every year for 20 years. And that's not a bad idea. You'll be the richest dentist on your block. But you can incorporate the dental practice, get it valued at 5 times cash flow, get $1 million value, sell 33% of it for $500,000, take the $500,000, invest in Bitcoin today, wait a year, raise another $500,000 at a double market cap, 2, 3, 4 times NAV, invest that, wait another year, raise $3 million, invest that, you'll be the first billionaire dentist on your block.
I love that analogy. I mean, yeah, you obviously insert profession there, but his solution is just literally to borrow and then buy Bitcoin, and then as that inevitably goes up, then your market cap goes up and you can borrow more, and then
It's a little degen, but
rinse.
look, he's ambitious.
The problem is that Bitcoin doesn't just go up. So
No, it goes. It can drop 99%, and it will.
and it most likely will. I think it will. Well, maybe not 99. But I think this time,
No,
I wouldn't
but
be
like-
surprised if it
I
goes
think it'd
down.
be
say,
less
7.
than last time. It's going to start
Yeah.
like stabilizing, more like the stock market, right? Like eventually to be like, oh no, it's the bear market. Everything's down 10%, like the stock market.
Yeah, diminish gains, diminish losses. So
Yeah, and
but-
up 20% will be huge, right? Not
Yeah.
anymore.
So then the thing is, what's his liquidation price? Like and that's why I speculate that it will be 1 year after the BTC top, because either it's just manipulated, but it'll basically be about a year after the BTC top, where he's taken on so many loans to buy more BTC, and then it goes down for a full year, and then having to pay not only the premiums, but to pay back those loans. I mean, you can always get more loans, but at some point it does unravel, and maybe we'll see the Saylor will be the new FTX. So that's the
It's
the
a
thing.
little more clever than scam bankman fraud, but
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean,
Great.
I do like his idea in theory that the Manhattan, the early landowners of Manhattan, just rather than selling their land, they just borrowed against it, and then they built houses, And then as that land became worth more, and they just built more, and then that's why the buildings are so tall in New York. And he goes, I call it, you call it a Ponzi, I call it an economy. And it's like, damn, is this just how the whole world works? Is everything a Ponzi? Am I a Ponzi? Yeah, so I do like it in theory. But I mean, he's got massive balls, man, to be doing this with like hundreds of millions of dollars and just be like, yeah, I'm going to buy $1 billion worth of BTC. Like, didn't he literally like yesterday, like Strategy bought like $1 billion worth of BTC or something stupid? I'll look up Sailor Tracker.
Yeah, he has a high risk tolerance. He started something like 30 or 40 different companies. He doesn't run any of them anymore, but he's been in the game a long time. He was calling Bitcoin a scam for a long time, and now he's fully into it. So
yeah,
I mean, he's on the right side. It's a little degen, but hey, it's working. So keep on keeping on, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if this is showing. I don't know how to zoom in on this particular one, but he's got, it looks like $61 billion, and it looks like his DCA price is 70 grand. So Bitcoin's at 104.4 thousand, and looks like his average buy is 70.6 thousand. But $61 billion. That's
a lot of dollars.
I mean, the interesting thing I think about this last one, because I was reading about it, and they were saying that if Strategy is going to keep selling shares, because like in that dentist analogy, to then buy Bitcoin, then you could take out a BTC long and a MicroStrategy short. Like, so, and I think there was, and because the shares were going to go down. So then, here we go. There was a MicroStrategy's latest $1 billion plus worth of BTC acquisition announcement stood out from prior buyers. For the third straight week, the company raised cash solely through preferred stock sales, and by a much bigger margin. About $1 billion of preferred stock was sold in the latest tranche versus 187 million over the prior 2 weeks combined. It's notable because the preferred shares aren't instantly convertible to common stock, so they don't dilute existing holders, and they help Strategy preserve the share price premium that powers the BTC buying flywheel. So I guess like maybe this Strategy stockholders, I'd have to check the actual Strategy stock price to see, but maybe that was suffering because of that strategy. Although Strategy, I thought Strategy stock had been outperforming like Nvidia, like it was going really well.
Oh,
so I don't know. That was just an article that I saw anyway. But yeah, there's been heaps of stuff going on in the news. I noticed that Justin Sun's Tron blockchain is, I think, going to IPO. So they're going to do a public listing, and there's some deepening ties with the Trump family.
Eric, I think it is gonna be like the main guy in it.
Yeah, so Eric Trump and I guess the World Liberty Finance guys, they seem to be in bed with Justin Sun, and Tron is going to do an IPO, because I think Circle just did an IPO like last week as well. So we're starting to see a lot of these crypto companies doing IPOs on like the NASDAQ the New York Stock Exchange, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how well that's going to do or anything, but it is kind of interesting to think maybe Tron might be a way for World Liberty Finance to sort of produce a bunch of stable coins and do some sort of, laundering, whatever stuff that they plan on doing. But I did think that they were going to do a lot of that on ETH as well. But I know Justin Sun did a lot of donations towards Trump, so that's why he's sort of, He's on the World Liberty Finance, the board or whatever. I'm a little upset that Michelle Saylor is actually ahead in his investment. Oh, yes. Look, if you do the look into RH thing, it's not as pretty. We were just looking at the Michael Saylor one. But like we said before, that's just, for right now. I think there'll be a time where that will be a massive flex. Although, RH could also, the OA in theory could do the strategy approach and borrow against that and buy more ETH and reduce its cost basis. Because like the average buy for, if you look at that, so what was it? Look into RH. I know this is not the most accurate one, but the PulseChain Treasury Tracker, $430 million. It might be slightly different, I think, now. But I think the average buy. Oh, here we go. DCA entry price 3,700. So if you borrowed against this and then you bought more ETH at current price 2,500, he could reduce the average buy. But yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
It's been sitting there, right? Like, what's the plan? Though it could have something to do with the SEC, with the the red notice, that kind of stuff, right? Like not having that ETH exposed to another protocol where somebody might be able to seize it somehow, like that kind of thing.
Look, I think RH has always talked about not trusting middlemen, so it would be a bit hypocritical to then put it into some middleman sort of thing. But I guess it's different with Aave and stuff because it's more you're trusting the code, right? Like it's still on chain. It's not like it's going into a Celsius style middleman. What is up, Duke of Booze? What is up, bro? Good to see you. Land is one of the things that they're not making anymore. Yeah, that's anything scarce is going to go up in value by definition. It's just against. I mean, it's like inflation adjusted, of course, because the dollar's going up. The dollar, your purchasing power is going down, so you're going up in dollar terms. But if you inflation adjust, maybe it's just holding its ground, like it's holding its value. Like scarce assets might hold their value against the dollar, so they look like they're going up in dollar terms. It's funny how we fully understand ratios now because of like all of crypto and like ratio trading and all this sort of stuff. We're just like everything's a ratio. I can price anything in terms of anything else. Anyway, it's a bit of an edge because I think a lot of people can't do that. Like they don't understand what you're talking about, and you're like, yeah, but inflation adjusted, or what's the price of your house worth in Holden Commodores? Like, what's it worth in? Like, how are we? What's the underlying asset that we're comparing it to? What else is going on here? Oh, I think that's it. I think I got to the end of the comments there. So yeah, I mean, is there anything else you guys wanted to say before we sort of wrap it up, or anything on Twitter or anything that's going on in the background?
Trying to avoid Twitter.
Doom and gloom all over, but I think things are going to look up. Is my personal perspective. This is the calm before the storm. We're going to go sideways for a month, 2 months, and then September, when all the finance guys come back to work, I think something's going to change.
Yeah, it certainly seems like there's a bit of a lull there always is for the Northern Hemisphere's summer. Like a lot of people just sort of, getting those summer vibes and out enjoying their life and having barbecues, which is probably what you should be doing. But then, yeah, people aren't really focusing on this sort of stuff. But in the background, there is things like I noticed this was Brian Armstrong talking about how bringing crypto payments mainstream, he's built an open source smart contract which sort of mimics the way that credit card settlement happens with Shopify. So if you go to like an online store or something, can you put in your credit card? It's going to depend on your shipping, freight, your exchange rates, all sorts of things. So you buy the thing, you put it in the cart, but then there's this like settlement period where until all the charges have been and fees have been calculated, it doesn't actually take the money out of your credit card. So they've developed an open source smart contract that will sort of mimic that, so that they can interact with the Shopify shopping carts on. Yeah,
Like
I was like, yeah, like an escrow thing almost.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah. Yes, like almost like an escrow. Like it's just, it's like, because you notice that with all your payments, like even if you say you do like a Coles order or something like that, you buy some shopping online, and then it just says pending because they haven't actually gone and put all the shit in. They go, oh, hang on, we don't have like this, whatever.
Some of that is like banks talking to each other too. The financial plumbing actually takes a while. Like I remember only a few years ago, they said that like banks were still faxing each other spreadsheets. So
that's crazy.
Yeah,
but I guess they have to finalize the bill before they can actually charge it. So there's a lot of pending charges. You notice if you look in your bank account, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's pending. So it's because they talk about how Visa's got however many billion transactions per minute or whatever. But a lot of that stuff gets put into this escrow almost, where it's all pending. So that's sort of what this smart contract thing. And so they're doing it on base, of course, but if it's open source, then what's to stop anyone from using that smart contract?
I can't think of why it would be that complicated of a smart contract. You just need like both parties to approve, to sign off, and then just make sure it all gets cleared. It doesn't sound like rocket science to me.
Yeah, I reckon that's bullish. So you see things like that happening, and it's like, crypto is advancing. Like we're still making new shit that's like getting us on the next level. Liberty Swap Finance is pretty cool. You can swap your stuff across. I think it's like 0.4% fee. There was a hack. 16 billion people's passwords.
That one,
lost.
That one got
Apple,
me.
Facebook, and Google. So RIP everyone's data.
Change your password. Just do it.
Yep.
I hate it.
Yeah, and it looked like these credit card stocks went down because as the Genius Act went in, the stable coins can cut payment costs by 85%, bypassing credit networks. So there is going to be some stuff going on. There's an XRP ETF. There you go.
In Canada, apparently.
Yeah.
Canada was way ahead on that stuff. There was an Ethereum ETF years before there was an Ethereum ETF in the USA.
Right on.
Same with I think there's a Solana ETF in Canada. Like we're on it. Center of blockchain technology.
Yeah, like peak value add.
Tether printed $1 billion USDT as they do.
There we go.
And look, this guy who had been selling. So this is one of the wallets that was like the big ones that were selling. Check out Storyteller. They tells you what's up. It's interesting, to see, because I think he was saying that it went into ETH and it's been untouched for 400 days. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. But anyway, look, people will be shaken out, and the diamond hands will remain, I guess. What can you say?
Little baby lettuce hands.
My bags.
My bag. Oh.
That's right. So we will just have to keep up a good fight. Did you want to say anything base rating before we go? Is there anything you can shill with your
no
stuff?
I'm always looking for work. I'm desperate, so I got a little
intrepid dev
down there. I do everything kind of okay well. So hit me up.
Give
if
our
you're
man
curious.
some love. Yeah.
Give me some love if you got a little funds and a small dream.
That's right. Well, people sometimes say that. Does anyone know any devs? I'm like,
I know
yes.
they do. And then I'm like, I'm here.
It's
And they're like, we have no
It's
money.
funny.
Can you do it for notoriety? And I'm like, no.
That's like when you play in a band and they're like, you know,
Yeah,
oh,
do
we
it for,
get exposure.
yeah.
And plus you get free drinks. And it's like,
Well, yeah. If I
okay,
got
I'll
free
do it.
drinks, look, I probably would do it. So, yeah, hit me up.
Let's talk.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Fast Abdul, any final words? Any final adjudications?
Yeah, no, I think we'll leave this one as a open case for the moment. We'll come back to it. Court dismissed.
Awesome.
Court dismissed,
Love
so-
it. Thanks very much to the chat. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again soon. And stay strong. Awesome.
Hey.